When we think about the Yakuza franchise, we likely imagine a narrative filled with dramatic moments and plot twists, powerful characters, and a world that also knows when to not take things too seriously. Ever since I moved to Japan, I found myself losing my interest in Like a Dragon series. Whether it's Kamurocho's neon-lit streets or its atmosphere, it lost its charm for me. Since, I can go out to live in that atmosphere by myself. However, the Yakuza series turned into Like a Dragon, and Kasuga Ichiban with his quirky turn-based gameplay added something fresh for me. With Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, I found myself hyped for the series that I used to be a big fan of. I mean, pirates, Hawaii, and Goro Majima as the main character? That's what I've been waiting for ages. With Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii on the horizon, I couldn't help but recall the first time the series took a massive leap into the bizarre. Yakuza Dead Souls. Released in 2011, Dead Souls was the entry that deliberately broke away from the core formula, transforming Kamurocho into a zombie-infested war zone and turning the usual brawling mechanics into third-person shooting. As ridiculous as it sounds, right after the series' Yakuza Kenzan, featuring Kazuma Kiryu as Miyamoto Musashi, Yakuza Dead Souls masters the delicate art of balancing the absurd with the familiar Yakuza tone. Replaying Yakuza Dead Souls also made me realize that the roots of the absurdity of Like a Dragon even reach Yakuza Dead Souls. So, I'm here today to dive into how Yakuza Dead Souls crafts a unique experience that somehow feels true to its roots, despite its bizarre premise. I'm Arcadenaut here, and I play Yakuza Dead Souls so you don't have to. Or, hopefully, you'll want to. Yakuza Dead Souls is, at its core, a zombie-themed action game. The kind where you run shooting bullets that may somewhat remind you of Resident Evil 2 or Dead Rising. Yakuza Dead Souls takes place in Kamurocho, but this time, instead of finding ourselves roped in the battle between the Tojo clan and Ome Alliance's clash, there is a massive zombie outbreak sweeping through the streets, turning the iconic streets of the Yakuza series into a terrifying war zone. Kamurocho is overrun with the undead, and by each chapter, the quarantine zone expands and different kinds of infected prototypes appear. During my live streams, I've been asked whether Yakuza Dead Souls is canon or not. Although it takes place after the events of Yakuza 4, it is in fact considered as an alternate timeline spin-off in the Yakuza series, basically as a what-if scenario. The streets are overrun with the undead, shops are boarded up, and we get to play as Shun Akiyama, Goro Majima, Ryuji Goda, and finally finish the story with Kiryu Kazuma approaching to Kamurocho to save Haruka from this chaos. Each character faces personal stakes, whether it's Akiyama trying to protect her assistant Hana from the outbreak, or Goro Majima having fun blasting off zombies with his shotgun. What's remarkable about Yakuza Dead Souls is how it still manages to maintain certain core aspects of the series. The soap opera level melodrama, out of context and comedic side content, the overly strong characterization of the playable characters. Even when you're firing a shotgun at the undead salaryman or skater zombies called Monkey Boys, Dead Souls was the earliest sign that the Yakuza devs weren't afraid of leaning into the absurd, albeit as if they were desperately looking for a sign or a chance to implement their crazy ideas into the series. Yet, the magic of Yakuza Dead Souls lies in seeing Akiyama, Majima, Goda and Kiryu reacting to the sudden apocalypse on their doorstep. Whether it's Goda with his minigun implemented bionic arm or Kiryu's stoic nature, they all trying to solve the main reason behind this outbreak, trying to reclaim Kamurocho from this madness. And of course, no Yakuza story is complete without betrayals or plot twists. While the zombie apocalypse is the central conflict, We still get to see Tojo Clan chairman Daigo Dojima or the Omi Alliance during the cutscenes, trying to get to the bottom of this outbreak. Yakuza Dead Souls, especially with Majima, who is practically thrilled at the chance to go wild, keeps the story from falling into a standard zombie cliché. If it ever falls into a cliché, it does it in a way that it definitely embraces its Yakuza narrative roots. Yakuza Dead Souls unfolds across 4 chapters, each spotlighting one of the series' legends, starting with Shun Akiyama, Goro Majima, Ryuji Goda, and Kiryu Kazuma. We get to see the motivations of each character, their combat quirks, though do not expect to see wide variety when it comes to the gameplay. Shun Akiyama as the first character stands out as the philanthropic loan shark who, again, refuses to abandon his clients when Kamurocho descends into chaos. While his main goal is to survive and try to protect his assistant, his gameplay mostly focuses on speed and agility, using pistols or submachine guns to zip around the battlefield. However, since he is the first character to play, his abilities and his arsenal kinda fall short and act as the prologue. One thing that keeps Yakuza Dead Souls from being just an arcade shooter is the unlockable abilities and how your progress or your weapons carry among the 4 playable characters. While each character has their own unique weapons, it might be best not to expect a deep gameplay mechanic or changing fighting styles like in Yakuza 0. Just like how the mainline Yakuza games let you invest your ability points into new moves or combos, Dead Souls has a similar progression. As you complete main missions, do maybe side stories or tackle rescue missions in the quarantine zone, you'll earn experience to unlock new abilities like agile dodge steps, faster reload times, increased hit gauge, or bigger inventory slots. My advice would be to focus on your inventory first, since many of the unique zombies drop crafting materials that take individual spots in your inventory. And missing those crafting materials also means that you would also miss your chance to modify and upgrade your weapons. These modifications aren't restricted to one character, meaning that you can craft or enhance a weapon under Akiyama's chapter and then later find that same improved firearm available for Majima or Kiryu. Now, if all of this talk of crafting, carrying over firearms and unlocking new abilities sounds like a breath of fresh air, well, that's part of the art of absurdity in Yakuza Dead Souls. A game where you can mix comedic ragdoll zombies with heartfelt side stories about rescue missions, maybe for your regular hostess club patron or someone in need. That's a very Yakuza way of blending seriousness with off-the-wall nonsense. Interestingly enough, there are aspects of Yakuza Dead Souls to adore, especially if it ever receives a Kiwami-like remake with better performance and an improved engine bringing a better action experience with more customizations. It could be one of the most enjoyable spin-offs in the entire series. And also, let's not forget the possibility of co-op gameplay. Dead Souls loves letting you roam around the Kamurocho as a badass Yakuza, saving who you can, chasing side quests, leveling up, and maybe going to karaoke in the middle of the zombie outbreak. It is that contrast of minigames and an outright apocalypse that underscores Dead Souls' biggest strength. It does not take itself seriously, and it doesn't expect you to either. But when it does, it manages to do it in its own way. But to me, that is exactly where the absurdity becomes the secret sauce. Yakuza Dead Souls knows it's a spin-off. It never tried to dethrone other titles of the series back then. Instead, it was an experimental ground for the Yakuza team to go crazy and implement their weird ideas into the game so that the future titles could also benefit someday. I mean, where else you can see giant zombies, a quarantined Kamurocho full of working cabaret clubs, and even the chance to be the Takoyaki King in Ryuji's side quests. Yakuza Dead Souls is basically winking at you at every chance it has. It also made me realize why I'm enjoying Like a Dragon more these days and why I'm hyped for Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. Maybe it's just me seeing enough of its crime thriller drama tone, but when this series go crazy, there is no limit. Somehow, the Yakuza team managed to surprise me and make me laugh with the most stupid jokes or the most absurd enemy they came up with. Calling it more of a guilty pleasure wouldn't be wrong. A guilty pleasure for the Yakuza fans who appreciate the bizarre. An action B-movie starring your favorite Yakuza characters loaded with cheesy lines, dropping frame rate with lots of the unique Yakuza charm. Replaying Dead Souls in anticipation of Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii has rekindled my admiration for the franchise's creative risk-taking, and I really hope they would eventually go crazier. It's not just cramming silly moments and wild plotlines into a serious narrative, it's about how Yakuza as a franchise wields those extremes to keep us on our toes. Not just as the sub-stories adding more crazy to the experience, but intricately implemented in the main aspects of the gameplay as well. I believe this constant flipping between tension and irreverence has always been a Yakuza hallmark. This expect the unexpected element of Yakuza series is one of the core aspects that needs to be even furtherly polished and let free. Basically, the answer points straight back to the entries like Dead Souls when someone asks, how did Yakuza become so comfortable with such wild shifts in tone? Practically, in the bigger picture, this spin-off stands as a crucial milestone in the franchise's history of embracing the crazy, embracing the unexpected, still retaining a sincere heart under all the chaos. It cemented the idea that no matter how serious or a silly Yakuza game might seem, there is always room for an offbeat sense of humor, there is always that real emotional core ready to present the Yakuza series' crime drama. This balance is what keeps fans coming back. They know that as soon as they finish a brutal climactic battle, they might stumble upon a minigame where Majima sings karaoke dressed like a pirate, maybe summoning sharks to battle together with, or a zombie chowing down on ramen in the corner of Millennium Tower. It is this chaotic blend of light and dark that turns each Yakuza experience into its own roller coaster ride. It is this new form of art of absurdity is what makes Yakuza series so memorable and impactful. As always, thank you for watching today's video. Which Yakuza title should I cover next? Any humble support through Patreon and YouTube join is really appreciated, and I will see you soon in my next video.